On Wednesdays, we separate the show into two parts. We do that because our fantasy football coverage, which I've done for many, many years here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, has its own specific audience that goes to it, right? When you got to make your fantasy picks and you're making your daily thoughts and whatnot and getting everything ready for the leagues during the league seasons, which just wrapped up here recently. You got to make sure that you can get to that information, get to it quick. Some of you are setting your lineups within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour of a game starting, so you need that information. You want to be able to go back to it and get it instantaneously. So our fantasy football videos air within Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time hour, but we make them their own video on Wednesdays in the second hour of the show so you can access them so quickly. Fantasy Football in Focus, NFL Playoffs 2023-24, the divisional round, folks. We're down to just 4 games. I can't believe that we're already here, right? This past week was great. Not happy that Buffalo area had to deal with the weather that they had to deal with, but at the same time, having to deal with that weather put us in a situation where we get 2 games on every single day. 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, 2 on Monday, which was definitely spoiling us. The games were awesome. I finished with a record of 4-2. The only games I got wrong were the Cowboys losing to the Packers and the Browns losing to the Texans. Everything else was right here, and so happy to have that. Had Detroit, had Tampa, had Kansas City, had Buffalo, and they're all going to be facing off against each other. So really excited about what's coming up with that. It's kind of interesting how I got all of the games right of the matchups that are happening that didn't involve anybody with a bye week. The 2 that I got wrong, Houston and Green Bay, are playing the number 1 seeds, respectively, Baltimore in the AFC and San Fran in the NFC, both of them getting the week off as the number 1 seed in the new wild card that has 7 teams in on each side, 7 teams in the NFC, 7 teams in the AFC, that there's only 1 team that gets time off and 2 through 7 have to play. So those 2 number 1 seeds are in action this week. We're going to get to test the mettle, so to speak, of the Baltimore Ravens as well as the San Francisco 49ers. So excited to see this, excited to have this with you. The new digs of the studio here. I'm standing up right now. I'm going to be standing up, moving around. This is the fun part of some really cool things that we're doing with the studio, a reimagined Wake Up Call Studios, and we have a bunch of memorabilia that's now I get to put it out here as we extend the showcase, so to speak. So I have my teal with it for the Jaguars. I have my Wake Up Call shirt signed by Caleb Joseph of Syracuse, Orange men's basketball history. What up, Caleb? We have the D-backs that coming from going to the World Series with my dad. Hope makes the impossible possible. That sign, thanks to my mom, has hung in every single place that I've been in since 2008, graduating college and getting my first apartment. I have a bunch of signed memorabilia back there, including a Syracuse team signed piece there from my good friend of mine. You know who you are, and I love you dearly. A Wake Up Call candle, a Wake Up Call mug. It is what it is, which I can't stand that line, but it's a different one. It is what it is, but it will become what you make of it. Love that, because that, to me, takes something I don't like and turns it into something that I really like. It is what it is, which I can't stand. But when you add, but it will become what you make of it. Love that. My signed from my little sister, Franny, if you could see it here. I'll switch here. Fran Tortora, incredible lacrosse player, even better human being. That is her signed picture from my studio. Jackie Robinson, my time hanging out with the Dolphins. We the North flag held up by BB-8, Toronto Raptor stuff, Damon Stoudemire. My Bobcat baseball of the inaugural season, signed by the first 4 people to ever join my show. Head coach Sean Peak and the crew there. Appreciate them so very much. And, of course, my Bobcats bobblehead, which I got in the signing of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. So a lot of cool stuff here in the studio, a lot of great things to come, and very much looking forward to this. So we're in our fantasy football coverage. We're going to be doing these 4 games. I will be giving you my prediction on each of these games, and we will also be breaking down the fantasy value inside of these matchups. So wherever you're listening from, if you have a question, if you have a thought, if you are saying, hey, Dan, I'm playing daily fantasy and I got to choose between this and this, whatever it may be, shoot it off to us, send it off to us. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Send them to me as they come in, because if you can send them while we're on topic, that would be perfect. But if you come into the show a little bit later and you're like, oh man, I think they talked about it, you could still send it over to me. I'll be happy to put that information out there and be able to answer your question. So if you have a question, send it our way. Always appreciate it here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Of course, our coverage in fantasy football in focus, this segment, proudly brought to you by the fantastic team at the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. You can come out and see the Wildcats 7 days a week. Come and support the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. You can also go to them for takeout and delivery. If you're going to be watching the games at home, you could get in touch with them at 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat. So make sure you get in touch with them that way as well. I appreciate everybody that's reached out to the Wildcat and shown them some love from hearing about them here on the show, and definitely appreciate it. So make sure that you get on here ASAP to not only our channel and being a part of our channel, but that you find time to head over to the Wildcat as well and show them some love. A fantastic place with wonderful food, great people, and just an awesome environment for everybody. So, good for the kids, good for a date, good for time with mom and dad, good for spending time with friends, good for an anniversary, good for a pre-wedding, a post-wedding. There's so many things, banquet for a sports team. It's definitely the right place for so many things, and it just speaks volumes to the tireless work that they do at the Wildcat Sports Pub to just be a really special, welcoming, and safe environment for all. So make sure you head out to the Wildcat today. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you, or you could simply just say, DT sent me over. That's an easy way to do it. So with that being said, let's hop into our coverage of this. We're going to go into our first games. There's 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday, and I have a special announcement to make as well, which I'm very excited to make. We'll be talking about more of it as we go, but I'll make the announcement when we get to the game. Houston at Baltimore is going to start things off with this. So like I said, Baltimore had some time off because of the fact of being the number 1 seed in the AFC, so they got to watch this first round of the NFL playoffs. They'll face off against Houston. Houston is a hot team. You know that I am a Jaguars fan in the comfort of my own home, but I speak impartiality here on the broadcast, and impartiality and being a broadcaster, separating that from being a fan, I thought the Houston Texans were a better team this season. Overall, the Houston Texans did more, to me, in my opinion, to earn a right in the playoffs than the Jacksonville Jaguars did. As much as you want to see your favorite team in the playoffs, you give credit where credit is due, and where credit was due was that the Houston Texans, at the end of this season, they were the better team. And it's as simple as that. They were the better team, and they obviously proved that in the way that they played a very hot Browns team, a Browns team that's won with 4 different quarterbacks, which seems almost impossible to do, but they did it, winning with 4 different quarterbacks this season, finding a way, and big-time credit to them. But they ran into a buzzsaw when they went up against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans taking, kick and tail, taking some names in this one. CJ Stroud even more so pushing that he is going to be the guy, right? He is the offensive rookie of the year. You could put some other people up there on the list, but he definitely should be on your list. Whether you're a fan of the Texans or not is inconsequential to the fact that C.J. Stroud has helped to turn this team around. Will Anderson Jr., this, D'Amico Ryans being their head coach. This team is far ahead of schedule of what I think some people would have anticipated. I didn't anticipate the Houston Texans were going to be this good this quickly, so congratulations to them on their incredible effort and everything that they've done to get to where they are today. This has been a wonderful season to watch if you're a Houston Texans fan, and it's like you're playing with house money. So this is a great thing. I'm not saying that they go into this saying, hey, we're just happy to be here. They want to win. They want a championship. That's why you go out here and, you're in this postseason. You have an opportunity to take home some hardware, and you're getting after it to do it. You do it for the love of the game, and then obviously, you work hard toward a championship. So I definitely respect the fact that they have been a wonderful piece of the NFL this season, and they are the youngest franchise in the NFL. They came in 2002. They are approaching 22 years old, and so they are very, very young. They're younger than the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have yet to turn 30, and the Carolina Panthers, who have also yet to turn 30, both coming into the league in 1995. So, looking at this game, and the Baltimore Ravens, here's the funny thing. If the Houston Texans beat the Baltimore Ravens, they will have beaten the new Browns and the old Browns in back-to-back weeks, because the old Cleveland Browns became the Baltimore Ravens. So the new Cleveland Browns are technically not the Cleveland Browns that you knew of the Jim Brown era and Ernie Davis and Bernie Kosar. Those are different Browns. Those Browns became the Ravens, and these are the Browns that came in 1999. So if Houston defeats Baltimore, they will defeat two Browns franchises technically, and technically that's going to be a hard thing to do, because Baltimore, to me, when you talk about Cleveland arguably being the hottest team out there, the Baltimore Ravens, to me, were the strongest team coming into the postseason. Now, as much as I said, hey, I don't think anybody's safe in the playoffs, I think, this is a postseason where it's really just wide open. As much as I do feel that way, I'm also thinking to myself that I did come out and make this statement that if anybody, of all the teams that I think, anybody could be in a danger zone, that the team I felt best about are the Baltimore Ravens. But I want to caution you, and I want to caution myself in thinking that, because there is no true safe in the playoffs. And I think that when you think, oh, my team's safe, they're good, that's when somebody gets bounced out of the playoffs. So the Houston Texans, extremely, they're out there killing it. They did a tremendous job against the Browns. They were at home, now they're on the road. I'm going to check the forecast here out of sheer curiosity of what the weather is going to be in Baltimore. So let's take a look at weather in Baltimore. The weather in Baltimore on Saturday is going to be 24 degrees. 16 is their low. It's going to be partly sunny. 24 degrees. So you got Houston, who gets to play obviously down in Texas. It's warm, it's nice, but Houston also plays inside of a dome, where now you're going to be playing outside in the, doesn't look like the elements, but it's definitely going to be cold, 24 degrees. And the kickoff time for this game is going to be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we're looking at the sun's going to be going down shortly after. It's going to be cold. It's going to be in the teens for potentially the majority of this game, 20 degrees maybe around that area. It's going to be a cold, cold one in this matchup. So Houston, obviously you got fantasy value in C.J. Stroud. I don't have to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that. Andrew Beck, who's done some really good things. He was a fullback that scored on the Jaguars this season, which, was just, he made some history. Not good history for the Jaguars, but Andrew Beck, the fullback, he didn't practice. His backup fullback, Troy Hairston II, is on injured reserve with a back injury. God willing, he'll be okay. So, we're looking at that tight end situation being a little bit dicey, fullback situation being a little bit dicey, which means we may see more of a Dalton Schultz, Brevin Jordan together, and maybe move in some other pieces here. Nico Collins has been tremendous this season, 1,000-yard receiver. John Mechie III, he is questionable, limited in practice with a foot injury. Robert Woods was limited with a hip injury. So, Nico Collins, to me, again, he's somebody you got to look to. C.J. Stroud, for sure, in this matchup is worth the fantasy value to put him out there. Nico Collins is worth the fantasy value to put him out there. Outside of those two guys, when you look at the backfield for Houston, it's been one of those things that, I kind of toss up and say to myself, is this really where, I want you to put your fantasy marbles? But when we look at this last game for the Houston Texans against the Cleveland Browns, where they commanded it all the way through from the jump, looking back on this matchup itself and the Houston Texans here, when we look at this game that they had, that they ended up defeating the Browns 45-14, winning by 31 points. Incredible. The 31 points they win by, and then, we saw the Cowboys game get closer, but at one point the Cowboys were down by 32. So to the Green Bay Packers. When we look back at this game for the Houston Texans on the ground. Devin Singletary had 13 carries, 66 yards, 5.1 yards a carry, and a touchdown. John Mechie did play. He was involved in one rush. He caught all the three passes thrown his way, so that's good. He's on the injury report, but good to still see him out there. That's a positive thing for this team. Xavier Hutchinson, interesting thing here too. 2023 sixth-round pick out of Iowa State. He could be somebody that could get himself involved at wide receiver here. We saw him involved in this last game. There were balls thrown to Nico Collins, Brevin Jordan, John Mechie III, Dalton Schultz, Xavier Hutchinson, Robert Woods, Devin Singletary as well, caught all three out of the backfield that were thrown his way. So, C.J. Stroud has the value. I think Singletary has some value for you. I would say your best bets are C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins, then Devin Singletary in the Houston world. On Baltimore's side, obviously Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, Old Faithful. Again, I will say this and say it over and over again because it's true. When they need somebody in Baltimore, who's the guy that shows up? Gus Edwards. Say it with me. We trust in Gus. That's how it is. So Gus Edwards is that guy that they have been able to lean on. They bring in Melvin Gordon, doesn't matter, Gus Edwards. They have J.K. Dobbins, doesn't matter, Gus Edwards. Keaton Mitchell does some good things, doesn't matter, Gus Edwards. He's been the guy that time in and time out Lamar Jackson has shown, hey, I trust this guy, I like this guy, this guy's got to be hanging out with me. He's got to be doing his thing. So I think that there's a lot of value in Lamar Jackson. I think there's value in Gus Edwards in this offense as well. Zay Flowers, if he's good to go, he has a calf injury, limited participant, questionable. I told you about him when he was with the BC Eagles. I interviewed him when he was in college at Boston College. And then I told you going into the draft, in my mock draft, that he belonged with the Baltimore Ravens because he made perfect sense being a receiver that can also run the ball and being involved in running the ball and catching the ball while at Boston College, that he would perfectly fit the system of the Baltimore Ravens. And he has done, to me, exactly that. As a rookie on this team, he's done an absolute tremendous job in being a part of this offense that I predicted he would go to. So if Zay Flowers is able to go, he's worth the play as well. Isaiah Likely is worth the play. He is likely the starter as of right now. Mark Andrews is looking to come back from an ankle injury. The hope is that he will. I'm going to take a quick peek here if there's any recent update on Mark Andrews, just to see where things are at for you as we discuss it here in the moment. So, yeah, taking a look at this, he yesterday continues to practice, made a leaping catch, so they're talking about that. He's been in the mix in the tight end drills and whatnot. So, looking at the Ravens, all of their injured reserve players have practiced, and so I would anticipate we're going to see Mark Andrews. I still think Isaiah Likely, for how involved he's been in the offense, is not a bad play for you in daily fantasy. I do like him out there. You might want to throw a Rashad Bateman or an Odell Beckham Jr., but I think the majority of your value is with Lamar Jackson. Isaiah Likely, if he's the only one out there. If he's not, I still like him and Mark Andrews. I like Zay Flowers if he plays, and Gus Edwards on that side as well. This is a difficult game for me. I really do respect the Houston Texans. I feel like they have absolutely come to play. And like I said, I think they're ahead of schedule from what a lot of people anticipated. With that being said, though, when we take a look at this grand scheme of things, when the Houston Texans are going to face off against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, Maryland, I'm going to go with Baltimore. I am going to pick Baltimore. I did say that to me, they were the team going in, that if I felt like everybody was in an area of maybe potential concern, they were the team that I was least concerned with. And so I'm going to keep to that and say Baltimore will win this game. But I very much so consider this to be a difficult matchup for the Baltimore Ravens, in the sense of Houston and what they can do and their big time plays and how they air it out and how easily CJ Stroud can beam it downfield to Nico Collins. But they're playing in a colder element. They're going from Houston to Baltimore. They're going outside. And so I think that bodes well for Baltimore. And Baltimore being a running team, you don't have to worry about throwing the ball as much. So if they can get going that rush attack and Houston's defense doesn't have too many answers for it, we'll see what happens here. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win this matchup. When we look back on the overall season for the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens, they did not face each other this season. And so let me see here. I thought they did. Oh, no, they did face each other this season. I was going to say they faced each other the first week of this season, 26 to on the road in Baltimore. The Ravens defeated the Texans, who were on the road 25-9. So the last time that we saw these two play was the first game of the season. Now, ironically, whoever loses this game, it will be their last game of the season. So first game of the season to now whoever loses this game will be their last game of the season. It's back in Baltimore where it was in week 1 of the 2023-24 NFL season. Baltimore won the game 25-9 in that game. Keep in mind, folks, that was CJ Stroud's first ever NFL game. He went 28 of 44, 242. He's gotten better with time. No touchdowns, no interceptions, though, in this game. Dameon Pierce, 11 carries for 38 yards. Really nothing on the ground. The rushing attack of Houston, 23 carries, 72 yards, 3.1 yards a carry, no touchdowns. On the other side, Baltimore had 32 carries, so they had 9 more carries, had 110 yards, 3.4 yards a carry, very similar to the 3.1 of the Houston Texans in the game, but they had 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 from Justice Hill, who's been injured, and 1 from J.K. Dobbins, who's also been injured, so that's a difference there. Leading in the receiving corps, 80 yards, 11 targets, 6 catches, Nico Collins. Robert Woods, who has been hurt, was behind him, 10 targets, 6 catches, 57 yards. Then Tank Dell, who's also injured, and unfortunately in his rookie season, covered him at Houston with the Cougars, and now he's with the Texans in the NFL. He caught 3 of the 4 thrown his way for 34 yards. He will not be in this game, though. On the other side of it, Zay Flowers caught 9 of the 10 thrown his way for 78 yards for Baltimore. Odell caught 2 of the 3 thrown his way for 37. Rashad Bateman got involved. J.K. Dobbins, who's hurt. Isaiah Likely, and there was no Mark Andrews in this game. So if there is no Mark Andrews in the second, coming of this game, the Ravens won without Mark Andrews 25-9 in better weather that wasn't as cold, right? We were talking about September as opposed to now here in the middle of January, and they won that game 25-9. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win the second time around as well. And now we'll go to our second game of Saturday, January 20th, which is going to be your Green Bay Packers against your San Francisco 49ers. The game is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Good to see a bunch of channels getting involved. All of the major broadcasting networks. ABC has Houston at Baltimore. Green Bay at San Fran is on Fox. Tampa Bay at Detroit is on NBC. And Kansas City at Buffalo is on CBS. So pretty cool there. The 4 major networks when I was growing up. Those are the 4 that have the games for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Green Bay at San Francisco. Let's hop into this game and take a look at it. For Green Bay, again, I think they shocked a lot of people. Green Bay, with Jordan Love making the playoffs in his first season as the starter of this team. And, you have this thought process of it. And I told fans, you went from 3 decades of having 2 quarterbacks in 3 decades, and Brett Favre won you a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers won you a Super Bowl. And now you're going to Jordan Love. You're trying to hit gold 3 times by, going after those rocks in Wisconsin. They struck gold twice, 2 for 2. And now they're 9-8 coming out of the regular season. They make the playoffs. They go to Dallas, where Dallas had not lost a game all season long. And they beat the Dallas Cowboys in a place where people did not anticipate the Cowboys would lose. It is now 3 years in a row where the Cowboys have proven that they are one team in the postseason and one team in the regular season. They got bumped out twice in the last 2 seasons in the playoffs by the San Francisco 49ers. This time they get bumped out by the Green Bay Packers. They get bumped out at home in a place where they hadn't lost all season long in 4 months' time, right? You look at from September to December, they did not lose at home at all. They go into the playoffs, they look like a totally different team. They get completely blown out in the game. It gets closer at the end. There's a couple possessions, and then time ran out. Jordan Love, credit to him, but credit to this defense, credit to the Green Bay Packers staying hungry in these games. They've gotten behind each other, not just their quarterback. This has been a community effort, but Aaron Jones is a huge part of this last game here against the Dallas Cowboys. He has a knee injury, which has limited him in practice. God willing, he'll be okay. A.J. Dillon's questionable with a neck injury. Christian Watson, who played in the game as well, has a hamstring injury, which that is a very nagging one in the world of sports, especially for wide receivers and running backs, hamstring as well as groin. So, when you look at this and you look at the injury report, if Aaron Jones is able to go, you put him out there. I think that Jordan Love, listen, he's going to have to go pound for pound. He's going up against a strong defense, a defense that's blown out some teams this year. So, and surprisingly in certain places, not surprisingly that they're not good, but that the other teams were not as formidable against them. So San Francisco, Jordan Love has some value. I kind of tailor him down a little bit in this. I like Aaron Jones. I like now Jaden Reed. He's also on the injury report in this matchup. He has a chest injury. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, I would say are your best bets, but with them on the injury report, Luke Musgrave, the tight end, takes a little bit more value here for me in this specific matchup. What did Greg have to say? Miami versus Kansas City was the most streamed event of all time to date at 23 million viewers. A new era of consuming the almighty NFL product has emerged. Yeah, and here's the thing. That frickin' game was on, you had to go to Peacock. I have nothing against Peacock. I want to be clear about that. I have nothing against Peacock. I have nothing against NBC. And I have nothing against businesses going out and getting yours. What I don't like is that the NFL was like, especially for a playoff game, that the NFL was like, hey, dudes, if you want to watch this game, you have to go and get a Peacock subscription. So I want to know if there was 23 million viewers on the stream, I want to know how many of those millions of viewers canceled their 7-day subscription free trial after the game. I want to know if there's 23 million. Was there 23 million people? Well, you got to think about this. Some people have Peacock. So of the 23 million that streamed it, were there 20 million that canceled their subscription the next morning? That's the question that I have for you out there, is that, we watched the game. I watched the game. But did you cancel your subscription immediately following this game? Because if you did, those numbers would definitely be interesting to me, because I would not be surprised if the majority of people were like, yeah, I went and got the subscription, I played the system, and when the game was over, I deleted it. And so let's see what we have here. If you are a Premier League soccer or wrestling fan, no big deal. So, that's the thing, too, is Peacock tries to provide other things. So if you already have it, then it's great. If you don't have it, then, it feels criminal to do things like this to people out there. And it's unfortunate. But, that to me is the issue, right? It's the fact that the NFL is seeking to make money on top of 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 money. And in their seeking to do that, you're putting fans in a difficult place, right? A lot of people have gotten rid of cable because cable got too expensive. Not because we wanted to get rid of cable, but because it got too expensive. And now when you add our streaming services together, if you have Disney Plus, okay, and let's say you have the basic plan, that's $9.99. Okay, if you have Peacock, what is Peacock like? $5, $6. Let's call it $5.99. So I'll put $5.99. If you have CBS's thing, which is Paramount, if you want to watch the Army Navy game and all that stuff, that's $5.99. If you have YouTube TV, that's $72.99. So if you add just those four up, so if you have Disney Plus, I'm just using one that I feel like a lot of people have. If you bought Peacock, if you have, and then what's Amazon? $99.99. Okay. So let's say you have Amazon, because we're talking about, okay, so if we're strictly just talking about the NFL, let's take this, we'll take out Disney Plus. So if we have Peacock, if we have Paramount Plus, if we have YouTube TV, not including the DirecTV NFL thing, the Sunday Ticket and all that. So if we take Peacock, Paramount, plus YouTube TV and Amazon, okay, and then you have to have Apple TV too, but let's just do these four for now. So that's $100. This is 73 approximately, so that's 173, and then that's 12. So we got 173. So you're paying $185. So if you canceled your cable bill like I did when it was $69.99, and now you're paying $185 a month minimum just to watch this. Just to watch this. If you want to watch NFL games, strictly NFL games, just the NFL, you could be spending almost $200 in streaming. And you got rid of your cable that was $69.99. Right? Isn't that nuts? It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. Again, I'm not saying NFL don't go make your money. I'm not saying that Peacock and Amazon or any of these present bad opportunities. I'm saying that, they need to not crack down on the friends and family thing, because not everybody is going to have an extra 200 bones to spend every single month. So if you got a buddy and he can have up to 3 or 4 people, that's fair. Well, no, we want every single one of those households. Of course you want every single one of those households. But you know what? Sometimes when somebody can't afford a steak sandwich, they get their buddy gets a large steak sandwich, cuts it in half, and gives them the other half. Okay? And that's just how we got to do it sometimes. It's really expensive. What did Greg say here? Top 100 viewed live events in 2023. 97 of them were NFL or college football. This U.S. sport has all the power, thus a lot of money. Yeah, they do. And as long as fans keep paying for it, they'll do it. Can I name the other 3 live events that made the top 100? So they were NFL or college football. I would say March Madness would be involved. I would imagine that Caitlin Clark game, that's, LSU, Iowa National Championship was incredible. I remember the viewership on there was pretty high. So I would say maybe that game. I don't know if the men's championship was as highly regarded, but I would say the other 3 live events that made the top 100 in 2023, I mean, maybe one of them could have been the Emmy Awards or something ridiculous like that. I don't want to say something ridiculous like that. I just feel like, and no other sports, unfortunately. Yeah, I figured that's where we were going, Greg. So yeah, I would say probably the Grammys or the Emmys. And I don't want to say the Emmys are ridiculous. I think the politics of them are ridiculous. That's what I meant. That's what I was saying in my head. But I would, because I feel like sometimes you watch people win awards and you're like, did anybody see this movie? Like, it's just crazy. So, yeah, the Emmy Awards were on it. Greg said that. Okay, I'm not surprised. I would say the Emmys, the Grammys. A live event, hopefully not like The Bachelor's live, because it's not live, right? So, I mean, even if it was, my Lord. But, so, we just love watching our reality TV. We just gobble it up. I know it wasn't Big Brother. I like Big Brother, but I don't think Big Brother's live season finale was the thing. So, what did he say? Think turkey. Oh, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And think politics. I would say one of the debates. So I would say one of the debates in politics, and the Republican debate that happened in the latter part of 2023. So, yeah. That seems fair, right? Sports owns most of the top 100 most viewed things of a year, and then the other ones that are in the top 100 are something involved with Hollywood, something involved with politics, and then the State of the Union. Yeah, interesting. So I did watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It was pretty awesome. I don't know if it felt like some people were lip syncing, and that is horrible to me. If you're a live performer, then, gosh forbid you perform live, right? If you're a live performer, you should be performing live. Anybody can lip sync to a tape. Well, I shouldn't say anybody, but it's not hard to, move your mouth and pretend like you're good at something. People do it every day. People pretend like they're good at something when they steal. So, yeah, I mean, I really like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I just would have liked if some people didn't lip sync. That would have been awesome. Here's a live performance by someone who's not performing live. I mean, they should give that disclaimer. They should let you know. Coming up on the next boat is someone who's going to be playing their CD and dancing, because they would zoom in on the people and you'd look at their mouths and you're like, they're not even timed up with the actual song. So thank you, Greg. I do like that little tidbit. How about that? That was fun. I appreciate that. Once again, Greg, a longtime listener of the show, put a thing in here, said the top 100 viewed live events in 2023, 97 of the top 100 were NFL or college football related events. The other 3 were the Emmy Awards, the State of the Union, and the parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the State of the Union. The state of our union is not great. We need to... I mean, I don't even know. If I was president right now, I would go out and be like, there were 27 problems. There's now 97 problems. We didn't do a great job. We're going to have to make it better. And I tell people this all the time. I don't care what side of the coin you're on. That is inconsequential to me. What matters to me is if you have intelligence or if you are easily swayed. Because if you know what is it? If you stand for something or you'll fall for anything. If you believe that this country's economy is better, you ain't right. If you believe that eggs should be $6.99, you ain't right. If you believe that gas prices should have gone as high as they went, you ain't right. If you believe that our border should be wide open for terrorists to come into this country, you ain't right. If you believe that people should come into a country illegally because you feel bad for them, you ain't right. I want people to have a better life, but I want them to do it properly. God forbid. So if you believe people should just walk right in, and I've talked to immigrants that did it the right way, they're not happy with what they're seeing because they fought really hard to get into this country. So if you believe you should just walk into the country, you ain't right. By the way, people that let people just freely walk into their country, they've had terrorist attacks in recent history. Just so you know, facts are facts. And I'm not sitting here on either side of the coin. I'm not sitting here talking, Biden, pro-Biden, anti-Biden, pro-Trump, anti-Trump. I'm talking about if you are living in America, the education system is screwed up, people are screwed up, conversations are polarizing about the dumbest things, people can't agree on anything, the media does not tell you the truth anymore, they just tell you their opinion. I mean, if you're gonna be for or against somebody, that is not for your show. When I turn on The View, I don't turn on The View to say, okay, who are you going to tell me to vote for? You're supposed to give me the facts, give me the information on both sides, and let me make up my own mind. I don't come on the show and tell you Duke is a terrible team, Syracuse is awesome. I come on the show and I tell you, yes, I'm a native of Syracuse, but I think Duke is a better team this season. I do. Duke is a better team this season. John Shire's been terrific. His time as head coach has shown that this team doesn't have too much drop-off at all. And I respect John Shire and the work that he's done, and I respect the guys. I've talked to a lot of the guys on the team, and I've talked with John Shire, and I respect the work that they've done at Duke. Now, there could be thousands and thousands of Syracuse fans that loathe Duke, but Duke is a better team this year. That's reality. You state it in facts. You go and look at their record. You look at the teams that they beat. You look at how they play. You look at their fundamentals. My job is to not come on here and tell you this is what you have to choose. And when media starts to censor that is a very scary thing. When the media tells you, we looked at all the information, we got all the sheets here, we looked at everything here today, and we decided to throw out 5 of these sheets that you don't ever have to read. Don't worry about what's on them. Now, our job as members of the media are to present the facts and let you form an opinion. Now, I can have an opinion, and I do have an opinion. I have an opinion on a lot of things. But I would like to think I've always done it respectfully. I don't agree with everybody on the show, and they don't always agree with me. But we talk about it. And as long as you do 2 things on my show, I've asked this from the beginning of my career, as long as you do 2 things on my show, I will engage and have a conversation with you. If you justify your opinion and you're respectful. If you justify with factual evidence why you have taken the opinion you've taken, which is what I would ask you in any place in life, if you justify your opinion with factual information, and if you respect me, respect yourself, and respect other people. If you can respect others and state your opinion, whether or not we agree, I will engage in conversation. If you are a disrespectful person and you don't justify your opinion in factual evidence, then there's not a conversation to be had. And that's reality. And this country, if you watch any type of politics in this country, it is very unnerving that the media is now censoring and deciding what you get to see and what you don't get to see. And they've done this forever, arguably. But now they're to your face going, we're not going to allow you to watch certain things, to hear certain things, to see certain people. Media censorship, that screams North Korea to me. That screams Russia to me. That screams a lot of things to me that historically have not been great. The whole thing about freedom of speech and the freedom to show things. I mean, there are some horrific things that people put on social media. So to say, we're going to censor you from seeing someone's speech, but we're not going to censor you from seeing violence and sex on the internet, that's just crazy to me. And as a member of the media, by definition, and 20 plus years in the business, I have never censored reality. And when you start to take out things that are actually happening in life and you start telling people, don't worry, I went to the cafeteria. Don't worry about what's in the cafeteria. I got you a tuna sandwich. Now, this person could really want a quesadilla, and there could have been the best quesadillas in the world in the cafeteria, but you told them, I searched the cafeteria for you high and wide, and I deemed that this tuna sandwich is what you need to have. Don't worry about whatever's in there. I got rid of all that stuff to protect you. When in actuality, you really wanted that quesadilla that you don't even know is in the cafeteria. You don't censor. Media censorship is not a democracy. Media censorship is essentially a dictatorship. And that's not what we do here. So I know we got off on a point there, but I want to make that point because I think that point needs to be made. You know, I have an obligation to present to you the facts. You know, I can come to you and tell you that Syracuse is 15-0, and if you didn't watch a game all season and you believed me, shame on you for going, oh, well, Dan says they're 15-0, and then, okay. I mean, I want people to trust my voice, but if I tell you something that is not true, okay, maybe a better example is if I told you, now there's snow in central New York. If I told you if you walk outside right now, it's 87 degrees. You see snow outside. You know it's not 87 degrees. The snow would have melted if it was 87 degrees. But if you follow me blindly, that's scary. Now, if I told you don't look outside, I'll tell you what's outside. I'm going to censor all of the windows. I'm going to board them all up, and you have to trust me what's outside your door. There's a dinosaur outside your door. You can't go outside because there's a T-Rex in the front yard. Don't worry. Don't look outside. Don't see if I'm right. You know that I'm right because I'm always right. Don't worry. I checked. Don't look. Don't look for yourself. That's what media censorship is. Don't look for yourself. Don't go digging. We have an obligation as people in the media that consider ourselves journalists to present the facts and to tell the truth. Not one time, not sometimes, but every time. And if we don't know what we're talking about, we have to step back. That's reality. That's what it's supposed to be. I hold myself to a high caliber here. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Sometimes I feel like I could have done a hell of a lot better. But I've been doing this thing for 20 plus years, and I don't typically walk away from this mic ashamed, angry, upset. Damn, I didn't do a good job today. So I expect everybody else to start realizing that the power of this microphone is something to not take lightly. It's something to respect. And if you cannot honor it, then you shouldn't have it. That's how I feel. As a media person, we have to do things to the best of our ability and tell the truth and have morals and values every single day. And, in my opinion, be led by God. Because God is never going to lead you into a black hole. Some of these media people, I wouldn't follow them. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm not going to lie to you. Let's get back into the game. Packers at the 49ers. So taking a look at the Packers and the 49ers in this matchup, like I said, there's value in Jordan Love. I don't have him as high in this one. Aaron Jones, if he's able to go, yes. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, I got some value in them. If, I would call them wide receiver. In the grand scheme of everybody that's going to be playing in these 4 games, I don't have them as the highest ranking. I have them on the lower end. Luke Musgrave, I do like some things that he's done. I did want to look at this matchup here a little bit deeper. And looking at this matchup between these two teams, I want to go to the Packers for a second. What the Packers did against the Cowboys, which was a lot. And so looking at the Packers win over the Dallas Cowboys, to go back and reflect on that 48-32 victory. At one point it was 48-16. Keep in mind the Green Bay Packers were kind of like, yeah, let's get some starters out. Let's kind of understand that we are where we are. Romeo Doubs, who hasn't really had himself a lot of terrific fantasy play. He had 6 targets. He caught all 6 for 151 yards and a touchdown. Luke Musgrave, 3 catches, 3 targets, touchdown, 52 yards. Dontavian Wicks, he got a touchdown. Tucker Kraft had a couple catches. Dontavian Wicks had a couple catches. Aaron Jones had a catch out of the backfield. Christian Watson only had 1 catch. Bo Melton, who's had some moments here this season, he had 1 catch on 2 targets for 7 yards. And so that's what it looked like for the Green Bay Packers. In this game against the San Francisco 49ers, they're facing a better defense. I don't know what the heck happened to Dallas's defense. They've been better this season. San Francisco's defense has been pretty darn good. So I'm gonna tell you in this one, I kind of have Green Bay a little bit lower on the totem pole of fantasy this week. But the best bet, in my opinion, is Aaron Jones. A little Luke Musgrave, I'd give him some love there. But I'm not sold that anyone, Watson, Doubs, Jaden Reed, is going to overly dominate this Niners defense. So I have Jordan Love, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Luke Musgrave on the list. But the best bets, in my opinion, Aaron Jones. And then on San Francisco's side, Brock, doesn't he look pretty? And I don't like that they call it Mr. Irrelevant because I think it's mean. And I think it's kind of like starts your NFL career off by making you the butt end of a joke. So I don't like it. I'm not a fan of calling somebody Mr. Irrelevant. So I do like, and he's been anything but irrelevant. I like Brock Purdy in the game. I like him a little bit above Jordan Love. I like Christian McCaffrey as well in this. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. To me, I feel better about them going up against the Packers than the Packers offense going up against the Niners. So I think there's more fantasy value on the San Francisco 49ers side. At the same time, I do not discredit, disrespect or put down the work of the Green Bay Packers. They've done a tremendous job. I am going to go in this matchup with the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm going to pick the 49ers to win the game. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after you hear from our fantastic partners inside of Fantasy Football in Focus on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This is our logo, the sun rising out of the coffee cup. Shout out to John Granquist, my graphic designer. And this segment is proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. We'll be back right after this to talk about the Sunday games. Tampa Bay at Detroit, Kansas City at Buffalo. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card shop. Make your way over to GG Cards and Breaks today. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open 7 days a week. You can get over to GG Cards and Breaks Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're doing an amazing, awesome new opportunity. It's called the NFL Player of the Day. To find out all the information on that, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on our Instagram feed at wakeupcall_DT, and watch the video on how you can get some awesome stuff from GG Cards and Breaks in a Panini opportunity that is going on. There's a Panini football promotion at GG Cards and Breaks for the next 32 days starting today, Wednesday, January 17th. So get yourself out to GG Cards and Breaks today to be a part of that. You can find out that and so much more by going and seeing all of the awesome team led by Josh and Anthony at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. I was there yesterday, and I look forward to you being there today. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I'm very happy to have you here hanging out with us. The next games that we have up, Tampa Bay at Detroit. Tampa Bay at Detroit. This is an interesting game, and it's kind of a rough one in the sense of the fact that Tampa Bay has been playing so well, and you're happy for Baker Mayfield, and look at how he's resurrected his career. And then you have Jared Goff, and he's playing so well, and you look at how he's resurrected his career. So how can you pick just one? But only one team will emerge victorious and be one step closer to going to the NFL's championship game. And so Tampa Bay at Detroit, we're going to go ahead and start first and foremost with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got two Bays in this one, Green Bay and Tampa Bay, still in the postseason. We're going to hit with Tampa Bay here. There's going to be no cannon going off at the game. There might be a cannon going off from afar at Raymond James Stadium. Baker Mayfield's got some value in this matchup. Rachaad White for sure. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Mike Evans dropping a pass in right there by the end zone. That's a tough thing there. David Moore, he had himself a good game. He's somebody to kind of maybe look at here as a little sneaky thing. If you're doing daily fantasy, there could be some value in picking up a David Moore. Cade Otton as well, the tight end. Definitely Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Rachaad White. But Cade Otton and David Moore probably have risen the antennae of some of you out there. Next one that we have up here on the other side of the matchup, the Detroit Lions in this game. Detroit to Jared Goff, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, all worth the play in this matchup. And so I would definitely look at putting them out there. I would also, look at these defenses of Tampa Bay and Detroit. This could come down to a timely turnover of a fumble that could turn into something in the game. So just make sure that you watch on that and remember that I said it. So that's something that I would definitely look to. In the matchup with the Bucs taking on Detroit in Detroit, I'm going to go with Motor City here, and I'm going with the Detroit Lions to continue to win. I had them winning their division this season in our preseason. I have them continuing to move forward. Final game, Kansas City at Buffalo. Shout out to the Buffalo Bills. I told you I got some big news for you. Well, this game is going on Sunday, January 21st. Kansas City at Buffalo at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 hours before kickoff, I will be on site, on location at Pizza Man Pub. Why? Well, because we're very proud to work with Pizza Man, and they're a fantastic partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. But also because of the fact that Pizza Man just so happens to be a Beeville Bills backers bar. They are a proud Buffalo Bills supporting bar. They have a group called the Beeville Bills Backers. And so we're going to be on site, on location, at Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York. This Sunday, January 21st, we will be here in the community in central New York as the Buffalo Bills get ready just a couple hours away to take on Kansas City at 4:30 p.m. Wake Up Call will be bringing you our pregame show of Kansas City at Buffalo. We'll also have the opportunity to recount the last 3 games because all of these games will have happened. So we can touch on Houston at Baltimore, Green Bay at San Francisco, Tampa Bay at Detroit as well. We could talk about that game while it's going on, as that game will still be in progress, but we'll be able to speak on all of the other games because 2 will be done. 1 will be going on at the time, and we'll be able to pregame with all of our Buffalo Bills fans. So Kansas City at Buffalo, not only should you be watching all of these games, but before the Kansas City at Buffalo game, if you're going to be in town this Sunday, January 21st at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be giving you a live hour pregame show on site, on location, on stage at Pizza Man, Beeville Backers Bar. So a bar that proudly supports the Buffalo Bills. We will be there with you. The game's at 6:30. The Wake Up Call pregame show to Kansas City at Buffalo starts at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time this Sunday, January 21st. We have not announced this until this moment, and we look forward to seeing you there. That being said, let's hop into the game. By the way, to all of my buddies, to all my friends, to Cookie, to the Delias, obviously Jimmy and Luke, and the family, big time shout out to Mark Walczyk, to John Ball, to, I don't want to miss anybody here, to Jimmer Sikowski and Betty Sikowski, and Sam and Hunter and Jack Sikowski, who are all Buffalo Bills fans. To all of my Buffalo Bills supporters, Phil Russo, big time shout out to each and every single one of you. I'm hoping the best for you. To Catherine, God bless you all. I hope you have a fantastic time. And I know that you're all going to be supporting the Bills. So I want to give you a shout out. My buddy Mark Walczyk will be overseas serving our incredible U.S. military. And so definitely hope they do well for you, buddy. I know that that'll mean a lot to you being so far away from home. So nothing against Kansas City at all. I'm sure there might be some people overseas that are Kansas City Chiefs fans. I just happen to know a dear friend of mine that is a big-time Bills fan who just got deployed. So God bless to all. May the best team win in this game. I know a lot of Bills supporters, and on the other side of it for Kansas City, to the Smith family, who are massive Chiefs fans, and to my buddy Brandon, I love you, brother. I appreciate you, and I hope you and the family are doing very well. God bless you all, as always. So big ups and much love to all of you, and to Miss Arlene watching you from heaven right now with the rest of your loved ones that are up there, and being an angel to you and hoping for your Chiefs. So I know people on both sides of this coin, as happens a lot on this show, and so I'm hoping the best for everybody involved. I wish that they could both move on for you all, because I love you all dearly. Chiefs at the Bills. Let's get into this matchup. First and foremost, we're going to go with the Chiefs. We always go with the road team first. Yes, the road team. The Chiefs have been able to move past the Bills in recent history in the postseason, but the Kansas City Chiefs are typically doing this at home. Kansas City, sometimes it's cold in Kansas City, right? But in Buffalo, let's check out what Buffalo is going to be like this weekend. We know Buffalo's had that really warm, very, very West Palm weather going on lately. No, they've had a ton of snow. Let's take a look at Buffalo and where they're at right now. Buffalo for Sunday, it's supposed to snow in Buffalo today, tomorrow, and Friday, and then it's supposed to stop over the weekend. The sun is supposed to peak out for the first time. Hopefully it'll do it before this, but it's supposed to peak out on Sunday. It's probably going to be around 11 degrees during the game. So it's not that Kansas City hasn't played in the cold before. They have. This one's going to be a cold one. So, and who said that before? Was it Rob Thomas? It's going to be a cold one, like 7 inches from the midday sun. So looking at this matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, I don't have to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. Now, the man dropped a few balls in this game. Not typical. I don't know what's going on. So, but hopefully things will bounce back here. Patty Mahomes, worth the play in this one. And, Gronk. Ooh, I almost called him. Yeah, I almost went with Gronk. Gronk is a terrific tight end who is no longer out there. But Travis Kelce, I think about him and Gronk in the same conversation of, who is one of the GOATs of it, right? I think Tony Gonzalez has to be mentioned in that. There's other guys, John Mackey in history, who played at Syracuse, went on to the Baltimore Colts. There's some really good tight ends. I think that people need to really research and go beyond maybe just one or two that you know, because there's been some good tight ends throughout history. Kansas City wins their game 26-7 over the Miami Dolphins. Again, I said, who's going to win this? The team that's leaned more on their defense and scores either 20 or to the mid-20s, or the team that doesn't have any defense that scores a ton of offense? Well, guess what won? Kansas City scoring in the 20s, defense doing enough. They held to it to 7 points, held that offense to 7 points, and Kansas City only had to score 26. They've done this pretty much all season, scoring from 20 to the mid-20s, leaning on their defense, making stops, doing enough to move forward. And they continue to be dangerous. Is it the most prolific offense that they've had? No, but it hasn't had to be. That's the danger of Kansas City, is that their offense hasn't been as wow as it typically is, but it doesn't matter because the team is still winning. And at the end of the day, if you got a dub and you're moving on, who cares how you do it as long as you did it with morals and values? Pat Mahomes is worth the play in this one. Isaiah Pacheco, he had 24 carries, 89 yards, 3.7 yards a carry, 1 touchdown in the game on the ground. Not too shabby. My guy, Rashee Rice, that I covered at SMU, this man's doing that work. 8 catches, 12 targets, 130 yards. He's a rookie, folks. Remember that. Number 4, what up? And he had a touchdown in this game. Travis Kelce, 10 targets, 7 catches. Like I said, multiple drops, 71 yards. Did not have a touchdown in the game. Pat Mahomes only threw 1 passing touchdown. He didn't have to do much. As far as anybody else, there was a couple catches for Justin Watson, who's come up here as he seems to be a target that Pat Mahomes likes to go to. Target him twice, he caught both. But 22 targets went to Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, with them catching 15 combined, 22 combined going their way. 7 did not stay in their hands or work out in the grand scheme of things. So I do like Rashee Rice in this matchup. I like Travis Kelce. I like Isaiah Pacheco, but I kind of put him on the second tier, not the top tier when it comes to running back as of right now. And then Patty Mahomes. On the other side of it, Josh Allen. I think the winner of the running back group is James Cook in this one. Another number 4 that's really prolific on offense. I told you about him when I covered him at Georgia. I was high on him coming out of college. I was high on him going into the draft. I was high on the Buffalo Bills when they took him, saying that he could replace Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, and instead of needing 2, they could just use him. And then he made some mistakes, fumbled some balls, and some people kind of lost some hope in him. But I always was like, hey, I told you this is the guy that I think is going to take over, and he's been the guy all season. Credit to him for that. Latavius Murray, shout out Onondaga County on the team right now, trying to help them move forward with the Buffalo Bills. And the more Buffalo wins, the more my home county wins, with obviously a lot of Buffalo Bills fans in the area, but Latavius Murray being one of our wonderful, wonderful members of our community in Syracuse and Central and Upstate New York. So much love to Latavius and the whole fam, and God bless us, bro. God bless you all as always, and definitely appreciate you and consider you part of the fam. Latavius Murray here in this matchup, he had 2 catches on 2 targets, 13 yards. Did not run the ball out of the backfield. So on Buffalo's side, I like Josh Allen, James Cook. As far as the receivers go, Stephon Diggs, I like Diggsy too. Deontay Hardy, he got involved. Khalil Shakir, that man fought like crazy to be that difference touchdown. It was a 1-possession game, and he caught the ball and moved his way and muscled his way into the end zone, made great decisions, and scored and made it 31-17. And Josh Allen being Josh Allen, at the end of the game, they said, do you deserve the game ball, or does Khalil Shakir deserve the game ball? And he said it goes to Khalil, without doubt. He didn't even have to think about it. He goes, it goes to him. He scored at the time. We needed that. We needed something. He came up huge. So, I think that Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, those are 2 guys. They both got involved here. I like both of the tight ends. Dalton Kincaid a little bit more overall fantasy-wise than Dawson Knox, and that's just because of output, but I do like them both. It's hard for me to choose because I think they're both good weapons. I didn't think Buffalo needed another tight end, but I think having 2 guys that can both be a starter, arguably, I think that's great, because some teams don't have a guy who is necessarily going to be a starter on another team, but he's their starter because that's what they have. Where when we look at, and I don't want to take anything away from anybody, what I'm saying is Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are two guys that I'd be happy if either one of them was on my team. Where there's other teams where I don't think they have, like, that's the guy, that's our direction. They have two guys in Buffalo, and they're both young. So, that's huge what their history can be, hopefully a long time in the NFL. So I do like Kincaid. I like Knox. I like Kincaid a little bit more than Knox. I like Diggs. And then, Khalil Shakir is maybe a little sneaky flex or a little Latavius Murray. But I think the majority of the values with Josh Allen, James Cook, Kincaid, and some with Knox, and then Stephon Diggs is probably the top receiver as a literal receiver that I would go with in the grand scheme of this game. And this is a tough one, folks. It's Kansas City. It's Buffalo. We know that Buffalo played at home last year, and they played up against Cincinnati, and it was just not a fun night. We also know that they changed the overtime rules because in the game that was a shootout between Buffalo and Kansas City, Josh Allen never got the ball back in his hands, and if he had, that game would have gone on for another 2 hours, arguably. So I'm going to reserve my right to not tell you who I'm picking until Sunday because we got our pregame show at Pizza Man. So if you want to know who I'm picking for Kansas City at Buffalo, come out to Pizza Man. Or if you can't get out there, watch it live on all of our channels here and listen on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. We'll be on the same channels when we go live from Pizza Man for our pregame before Kansas City at Buffalo, happening at 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, January 21st, with the game kicking off and available on all the TVs at Pizza Man, the Beeville Bills backers bar. You will see the game at 6:30. You will see us at 4:30. And, of course, a big-time thanks to everybody that searches us and finds us and likes us and follows us. If you go onto any one of these platforms, make sure you follow and subscribe. It's free, but it connects you to us. It lets us know that you're connected to us. We're connected to you. And when we update the archive and we add shows, you don't have to do anything, and you should get alerts on your phone to let you know that we have shows up there for you to listen to. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And of course, a big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Club, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's, Lunchbox, Avicoli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Wednesdays are Dolphin time, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Like today, you will find your Dolphins right here with us in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. The conversations that we have with the Dolphins, we get the information before anybody else does, and we send it out to the world. We are very honored to be exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Lemoyne College. AD and DT coming to you on the first and third Wednesday of each month, with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, we bring you the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, future Dolphins, alumni, and more, and the administration as well, with Dr. Linda Lemura, the president, and of course the chair of the board, Pete DeLaura. So make sure you tune into all of our Dolphin Dives, second and fourth Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern time. All of this and today we brought you both. Today we gave you the AD and DT and Dolphin Dive newest episodes. And so you could find all of this by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, hit the notification bell, and make sure that you find our Lemoyne Dolphins playlist there. You can also find Lemoyne on wakeupcalldt.com under exclusive partners. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com, and as always, Fins way up. Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. You can find your Bobcats every single month here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Men's and women's basketball getting back into the grand swing of things here in January for their second half of the season. The men are ranked number 1 in the nation. The women are ranked number 2 in the nation, and both of them are right here in Syracuse, New York. You can go and see them play their home games at Allen Hall on OCC's campus. The men will have the first home game of the second half of the season. That will be this Thursday, January 18th at 8 p.m. at Allen Hall at OCC. I look forward to seeing you there. Obviously, we cover throughout the year men's and women's soccer, baseball, and more. Great stuff coming up in the Bobcat Buzz, exclusive content with the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. And I want to thank Nick Dimitrievsky, Alex Grigorita, Sean Peak, Tay Baker, Clay Gagan, Sherman, Nolan Cass, and everyone on site, on location, Amy, Mary, everybody at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. We got some awesome news coming up with Bryan and Stratton very soon, and I cannot wait to share that with you. For all of our content, go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, click subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You'll find the BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com underneath exclusive partners. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and as always, go Bobcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of the show. I want to thank you for hanging out with us where sports truly meets that thing called life. I want to thank you for celebrating our new studio with us, all of the awesome things that we get to do, the fact that I get to walk around with this microphone and have some fun. I am so thankful, so grateful to God, to my family, to my friends, to all the people that support, to all the wonderful businesses that have believed in me and my vision and my mission. I cannot thank you enough for that. I'm honored. I'm privileged. I'm grateful. I have wonderful grandparents watching over me. I have wonderful dogs watching over me, Mordu, Cinnamon, and Shady. I have a wonderful daughter baby here in Miss Lily. And I have just a tremendous, tremendous support system. Mom and Dad, Papa Joe and Mary, Joey, Johnny, Jason, Isaac, Ross, Nico, Miguel, just on and on and on. Phil, it goes on and on. Brandon, John, Steve, Mark. I have many wonderful people that I can sit here and thank, and I'm so happy. So, we did this. We didn't really let anybody know we were doing this, that we're making this a very interactive studio. We can angle this so many different ways. We could do so many different things. We added so much to the background because you could see so much more now. So we've gotten to feature a lot more things. I get to move around. I get to have fun. I get to really just make this even more of an interactive and fun opportunity to watch and listen to a show unlike any other here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you to Bob Beretta in hour number 1, the AD of Lemoyne, who's done a tremendous, impeccable, incredible job with Lemoyne College and the Dolphins. Big time thanks to somebody that I truly believe will be in the Gold Wave Hall of Fame at Lemoyne someday, Allison Moreau. I hope that she gets her opportunity in professional soccer here in America. Big time shout out to the Wildcat for Fantasy Football in Focus. I have had a wonderful morning with you all. Thank you so much. I wear this logo proudly. I am so happy to chase my dreams and do what I love and love what I do. Thank you to the people that respect that, appreciate that. Thank you to all of the support. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Pop Miller, Pop Cavino, G-Mama, and Gammy. Like I said, Mordu, Cinnamon, Shady, Lily. Thank you to my immediate family. Thank you to all of my family all over the world, my family in heaven, my family here on earth, my family to be. And I cannot express enough love and gratitude that I have for my blessings from God. It is incredible. It is amazing. I am humbled by it. I am energized in the new year to do even more and be even greater for the goodness of God. To literally, I take very seriously that God gives you your talents. That is his gift to you. Your gift back to God is what you do with those things. And I, every single day, find that to be very important to me, to take everything God has given me and to give him back something that I can be proud of and that I feel is the best that I can give him. So strive to be your greatest, strive to be your best, Please connect with us. We're positive. We're not your typical news media source. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. We'll talk with you soon. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. We got big news coming up, folks. I can't wait to share that with you. I love you all dearly. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Have a great day. God bless. No